Have you ever stopped to think about how one tiny, seemingly insignificant moment can just explode into something massive? That's what we're digging into today. We're going to explore the domino effect, how one little push can send these wild, unpredictable ripples through science, history, and even the natural world.
Okay, let's start in a simple, predictable world. If I ask you a question, say, what's the capital of Japan? I mean, that's pretty straightforward, right?
Yep, Tokyo. One question, one direct answer. That's cause and effect 101. In this version of reality, everything is neat, tidy. It makes perfect sense.
All right, how about another one? Who invented the airplane? Again, it's a question with a very clear, established answer.
The Wright brothers, of course. A simple cause leads to a predictable effect. In this world, everything just lines up perfectly.
And you know, this is the world we think we live in most of the time. Kind of like a clockwork universe, right? Where every gear turns just as you'd expect. You push one domino, the next one falls. Simple.
But what happens when they don't? That's when things get really interesting. When the dominoes go sideways and it feels like reality is just making up new rules as it goes along.
So to see what I mean, we've got to go small, like subatomic small. Down in the quantum world, the rules of cause and effect basically get thrown out the window. It's like you push a domino and it might fall over, or it might just vanish. Or, even weirder, it could be in two places at the exact same time.
What you're looking at here is basically a tale of two realities. On one side, you've got classical physics. That's our everyday, predictable, clockwork universe. But then there's the quantum world, and that is all about probability. It's pure chance. You could know every single thing about a particle, and you still can't know for sure what it's going to do next. The best you can do is make a guess. And you know, even the great Albert Einstein hated this idea. He just couldn't accept that the universe, at its very core, was random. But it turns out that intrinsic randomness is baked right into the fabric of reality.
But here's the crazy part. This weird science isn't just theoretical. Its random probabilistic rules have huge concrete consequences. That GPS in your phone? It only works because of atomic clocks, which are built on these quantum principles. And lasers, from the scanner at the grocery store to cutting-edge medical tools, that's all quantum mechanics. So these totally unpredictable random little dominoes are literally powering our predictable modern world. Wow, right? Okay, so let's zoom back out from the quantum world and look at us, at people. Because it turns out, even when we try to make things predictable, a single, tiny, unexpected domino can bring the whole thing crashing down.
Take the great train robbery back in 1963. I mean, look at this timeline. This thing was executed like a Swiss watch, a masterpiece of criminal planning. They got away with a huge haul, too, something like 67 million pounds in today's money. But what they didn't know was that just minutes after they pulled it off, they'd already planted the seeds of their own downfall.
I mean, their plan was practically perfect. They had an insider tip about an old carriage with no alarm system. They had it all mapped out, step by step. They even brought their own retired train driver to make sure everything went smoothly.
And this is where it all started to go wrong. A simple, casual threat made to the train crew as the robbers were leaving. Just a throwaway line, you know? But that one sentence, that was the first domino to fall against them.
See, that little 30 minutes comment, it gave the police a search radius, about 50 kilometers. It basically pointed a giant arrow on the map, telling them exactly where to start looking. And it led them straight to a farmhouse the gang was supposed to have burned down. And inside, they found a Monopoly board. The robbers had been playing with the real stolen cash. And on that board was just one set of fingerprints. That's all it took, one fingerprint to unravel the entire gang.
So if the train robbery was a perfect plan with one tiny flaw, the hijacking of the Achille Lauro, well, that was a plan that went completely off the rails from the get-go. And it didn't just fail, it spiraled into a massive international crisis that pulled in 7 different countries.
Here's the thing. They never even meant to hijack the ship. They were just passengers, and their real plan was to attack a military base in Israel after the cruise was over. But then, a cabin steward just happened to stumble upon their weapons. Their cover was blown, they panicked, and in that moment of desperation, they set off a global chain reaction they never, ever intended.
Think about that. One single mistake, getting caught, created this insane cascade of consequences. The mistake leads to a panicked hijacking.
The hijacking leads to impossible demands. Those demands lead to the tragic murder of an American tourist. And that murder pulls multiple nations into this incredibly tense military and diplomatic standoff. It's a textbook domino effect.
And this announcement, this is the moment everything changed. One of the hijackers telling the ship's captain this very sentence. That was it. That was the domino that guaranteed this wasn't just some local problem anymore. It instantly became an act of international terror, and it sealed their fate. There was no way the world's superpowers were going to let them get away after that.
Okay, so we've seen quantum randomness, and we've seen human error. Now let's switch gears to something else entirely, the brutal, simple logic of the natural world. Because out there, cause and effect isn't complicated. It's absolute, and it is terrifyingly unforgiving.
This was a warning given to a hunter named Vladimir Markov. And what was his mistake? His first domino? Well, he was desperate for food, found a fresh Borg kill in the forest, and took some of the meat. What he didn't realize was that he had just stolen dinner from a massive Siberian tiger. And the tiger noticed.
And this tiger didn't just kill Markov. No, it hunted him. It stalked his cabin, destroyed his belongings, and laid a trap for him. When the search party finally found what was left of Vladimir, it wasn't just the scene of an animal attack. It was a message, a grim, horrifying, deliberate splay of revenge.
So we have quantum particles, a meticulous heist, a hijacking gone wrong, and a vengeful tiger. These stories couldn't be more different, right? But what do they all tell us about the nature of consequence? Well, whether it's governed by pure probability, a tiny human error, or the unforgiving laws of nature, one thing is crystal clear. The chain of cause and effect is one of the most powerful and unpredictable forces in our universe. A single push can change everything.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Every single action, no matter how insignificant it seems, sends ripples out into the world. And the consequences are rarely as simple as we'd like to believe. So the real question is, what domino will you push today, and what chain reaction will it start?